royal palace where soldiers are gathered. They have won the war, but they do not look happy. On the throne, King is talking to the soldiers, while others are quiet. And two persons. One is young man, and other is old man. They both are waiting for King to speak. The king told the old man that he had achieved something even his father had only dreamed of and congratulated him. The old man, whose name is Margrave, only bowed to the king. King then says, "What reward will be suitable for you?" while he is thinking of something, and he somehow gives an evil smirk. Margrave looks nervous when King starts speaking again because the king asked about his son, the young man who is standing next to him whom he reached the marriage age while he was in the war. King asked about his age. Margrave nervously says he reached 24 this year. The young man's name is Eric, who is listening to the conversation between his father and the king. King says this is the perfect age for marriage and offers his sister as his wife. Margrave does not know what is happening. The princess who has never seen before and never gone outside. She was supposed to be dead and no longer in this world, so it would be the first time someone saw the princess. Princess entered the throne room. Princess is a beautiful girl with blonde hair, but she looks like she is scared and has not slept for days. She is also wearing old clothes and no shoes, and she does not look like a princess, but a servant. Eric looks at the princess. He looks shocked because she is nothing like a princess. She looks worse than the other servants. Princess, whose name is Miesa Esquilier, also looks at Eric, but she seems like she does not care. King says the princess is shy and asks her to come near him. Princess tries to say something, but she cannot speak. She starts walking like a zombie, but she slips right next to the king. The king appears to be smiling, and then she falls to the ground with a loud voice. She helplessly lies on the ground, but no one tries to help her. King quietly laughs at this situation and says the princess is unwell. That's why she is behaving like this. He tells the princess to get up like a father says to a little kid. Margrave, who is quietly watching this, says he will welcome the princess to his house and Eric will be her husband, but in his mind he says no princess looks like her. Eric also agrees with his father. Kin says he should look closely at his future wife. Eric walks toward the princess, who is now sitting on the floor, and kneels right next to her. Both look each other in the eyes. Eric takes the princess's hand and tries to kiss it, but the princess panics and shakes his hand off. He does not understand what happened and looks at the princess, who looks very scared, like she's going to be killed. King tells the princess to come here while he looks amused at this situation, like he was hoping something like this would happen. Princess quickly runs towards the king like a child who is going to cry any time. Princess sits next to the king. King asks her to apologize to Eric while he rubs her hair. Princess started speaking again, but she sounded like a little dog who was sorry for her mistake. Eric tries to comprehend the situation, but does not come to any conclusion and stays silent. A carriage is passing through the forest, and in the carriage there are two people. One is Margrave, and the other is his wife. Margrave is furious because of what happened at the palace. Margrave thinks about the war which had been going on for years, and the true heroes in this war were the Chladni family, but the king was not pleased with this because the king and his faction were at odds. That's why he devised this marriage. At the Chladni mansion during the dinner, Margrave gets furious because he gave his unwavering loyalty to the king, and he gave them a foolish princess who can't even talk. Eric during this stays calm, and in his mind, he thinks about how they can't refuse the king's command. The marriage will happen in any circumstance, even if the marriage is unwanted. He will perform his duty as the heir of the family. Next to Eik, his cousin is sitting. His name is Amberek. He says what will happen with Eric's previous fiancée because she is from the Crispin family, the family with the same military power as Chladni. To Amberek's response, Margrave says that it will be cancelled because they cannot ignore the king's command. Then he asks his wife if she is not furious. Her name is Thalisa. Thalisa, while looking at the picture, remembers what happened when she had a chat with the princess maids. They told her princess would stay in Eric's room, but Thalisa says there is a connected passage between the rooms, but the maids do not agree. They say the princess is unwell, and if something happens to the princess, then the king will be furious. It will benefit neither of them. Thalisa says she will arrange attendance in her room, but they also disagree with this and say they will not accept mere attendance for the princess. Thalisa gets furious and says Eric has to look after the princess. She cannot accept such humiliation to the heir of the family. In the present at the dinner table, Eric remains unchanged and says nothing about the marriage, and no one bothers to ask his opinion on the marriage because they know they cannot reject the king's demand or they will be punished. Days passed by, and the day of the marriage finally arrived. The marriage between the brave knight and the princess was announced, and everyone was celebrating on the streets. To them, it was like a fairy tale. They were unaware of the truth about this marriage. Eric finally arrived at the place where the marriage was being held. Nobles were about the princess, they were also wanted to see the princess. Margrave and his wife also arrived at the church. A soldier comes to Margrave to inform that the king will not be able to attend the marriage. After hearing this, he gets furious but decides to say nothing. Instead, he walks away and sits next to his wife. Eric arrives in the groom's dress. Princess enters the church in a beautiful dress with blank expressions, and her maids are holding her. After seeing the princess, nobles notice the princess cannot walk properly. Some say, is she unwell? And some say she seems drunk. Princess finally arrived and stood next to Eric. They both showed no emotions. After hearing the vows, both kiss each other and become husband and wife. At the Chladni mansion, maids ask Eric not to harm the princess on their wedding night. They will collect the proof of consummation in the morning. Eric enters the room. He sees Princess being tied up on the bed. Then after seeing the princess, he takes off his clothes. Thanks for watching the full video. Subscribe to the channel and leave a comment if you want part 2.